Hello, welcome. Something I thought I'd talk a bit about. It's not talked about enough. Or if people are talking about it, they're pretty hard to listen to. But in the manosphere, in the 21st century sphere of influence by influencers online and in social media, I don't really see anyone talking about how men just need to go touch dirt. Like, I've heard people say it, but they're either too milquetoast to listen to or too on the other extreme of like super aroused, kind of like screaming at you. So neither of those are great, and I'm not going to listen to those on the regular. So I'm talking about these things, and hopefully I'll bring that holistic message of Catholicism, culture, country. This can go for a while. Communities, good relationships, tradition, legitimate progress, because you need tradition with legitimate progress and innovation, health, body, mind, soul, relationships, the arts, goodness, truth, beauty, all these things. I want to give that holistic message. And I'm thinking about all these things all the time. And one of the things with touching dirt is not just going to the gym, doing more masculine type stuff, but really getting out there, actually touching dirt, actually building things with your hands, some type of carpentry, going out camping, try to learn, try to go with your buddies. More and more, don't use as much stuff, just so you have the experience and the ability to do these things on your own without needing people's help. And from there, you can just keep building these skills, keep getting that invaluable life experience. There's nothing like getting a big slab of meat that you've hunted. I've never done this, that you've hunted, killed, taken back to camp, strung up, let it bleed out, skinned it, diced it, froze it, and you can give it to your friends and loved ones, and you can take one of those big chunks and cook them or cut them so that you can put them in freezer bags in the freezer and then cook them when you want. And the steps to that would be like go to Costco, go to a butcher and buy a big hunk of meat, take it home, cut it up, or put it in the fridge if you need to do some other stuff first, and then cut it up, put it in freezer bags, leave some in the fridge, and then put most of it in the freezer. I did that for the first time in my life, like a month or two ago. Big, like $80 Canadian thing of steak. I think it had the fat on it. So I think that's, what's that called? Not ribeye, not sirloin. Brisket. I think that's called brisket. I don't like the fat. I was looking for something else. I kind of got that by accident, but there you go. I got it. And I brought out my, not obsidian, those knives with like the beautiful waves on it. It's a type of forgery. I literally looked it up before, and it was so nice going on the internet to look up that style of knife. Like if you type in knife with wavy texture to it, and it was just like going on like old Google Images. It was so refreshing. It was like, finally some normal internet. It's not obsidian. I forget what it's called. It's this like Middle Eastern type of forging. It's cool. It's really, really cool. And so I use that hunting knife. It's got the wood handle. It's a nice knife. And I just slice into that meat. Slice it, cut it up, put it in the bags. You're touching it with your hands. It's this big thing. You know it's going to last you for weeks, if not a month or more. It's going to feed you well. It's just raw animal. There's nothing that can replace that feeling. There's nothing that can replace that experience. And it just matures you and puts you in touch with the world in a really right way, in a way that we don't get going on our phones, in a way that you're never going to experience if you just hear me talk about this. Not to mention if you spend all your time doom scrolling, and the vices go down from there as it regards how bad you can get with your vices online. But none of that, even if you're living a normal virtuous life nowadays without going camping, going hunting, just touching dirt in all the ways we used to do things like killing our own food, catching our own food, knowing how to process our own food, or even preserve food, like using salt, using, well, freezing you just put in the fridge or the freezer at this point. But learning canning maybe is something more for the women, but men just knowing how to do these things that men used to know how to do, building stuff. I've always wanted to learn how to build a log cabin, maybe kind of go up from there, maybe a bit of forging so I could be a bit more competent in having some metalworking in there. But man, we don't know how to do any of that. And where can you go do it? There's a huge issue right here that I'm going to get to, that back in the day, these sorts of things were a lot more accessible. You think now, or the older generations think now, that we've got the internet as Gen Z, Gen Alpha, so we should learn all this stuff, and we are given more than they were given. They don't have to, or they had to, look at textbooks and go to the library and borrow books. We just look it up on the internet. We just use AI. But ChatGPT is not real. It's not even a person. It's not a mentor. It's not going to be there cutting the wood with you, making a cabin in the forest, or building a temporary shelter for camping or something cool like that, or teaching you how to hunt, taking you shooting, let alone giving you the rounds, giving you the rope and the axe and the tools needed to actually practice these skills, or even inheriting things. You're not going to inherit anything from ChatGPT or the internet except knowledge, but knowledge without mentorship is a pretty empty form of knowledge. Knowledge without people there in person to apply it for you, to mentor you, true mentorship, that knowledge is pretty hollowed out, and it becomes a very empty society like the one we're living in. So get out there, learn with your buddies, learn the hard way, or like scale down. You know, like I'm saying, I've never done the hunting thing, but I know there's nothing like what I just described. Getting your hands dirty, getting the hunt on, waiting there for hours even, just so you can get it right, tracking it for hours. All these types of things that I know exist that I don't know how to do, or I don't have the means to do it, whether that's financially, the firearms, the wherewithal to know where to go for that kind of thing, the licenses for hunting. Like, you need all these things nowadays, and they're not easily accessible. It's not easy to just like go somewhere and build a fort or do some woodworking. You need to have your own garage, the money for the wood, or some supply of secondhand like scraps and whatnot. With hunting, you really need to be taught, or like have a serious group of guys to know where to go for that stuff, to have like that culture of manliness and doing manly things. Like that channel, I think he's in Alaska, and he takes his son and he goes, or sons, I think he has more than one, and he goes on his own too. And maybe he's semi-retired right now, just helping his son's channel. But when he would go on his solo trips on his channel, he would go in the Alaskan wilderness, tons of snow, cut out ice blocks, make all types of different shelters by propping up wood debris against the snow after he kind of shoveled away the snow, and then making heated beds where you take the coals of one fire and place them under a bunch of wood or something like that, and it would keep it warm. He showed all this ingenious stuff that was actually real, not like those fake primitive builds that everyone knows about, like that stuff where they have like construction equipment marks clearly visible in these like really cool builds. But the creativity they have to do that kind of stuff, we don't even know where to start as Canadians. That's the third world, some tropical place, and we don't know how to survive in Canada or America when it was all about being a pioneer. This is a country of pioneers, not of immigrants. Because our Canadian people, our American people, they've been here for centuries. We're not a land of immigrants. We're a land of pioneers. We're a land of people who know how to do these things, who build beautiful cities, and against all odds, build civilization and build a good, safe civilization. We don't know how to do any of that stuff. So touching dirt is the message of this one. Among the many things that should be talked about, this is one of them. I never hear it talked about. I'm telling you about it. There's lots more that I can talk about, but this is one of those ones that was coming up in the soup of my heart, in the stirring of my heart. The soup that was stirring in my heart. A nugget came up and it was like, get a thing of steak from Costco and cut it up. It'll change your life. And it just puts you in touch with something and is like somewhat a cure to depression. Like that typical male emptiness that we're all going through in the West of like, our country's shit, the opportunities are shit, I have no meaningful relationships, or they're usually going to shit if they're meaningful. My community's not there for me. I have no purpose. I have no drive. I finally get going on the things I want to get going. I feel great. And then something comes and rips it all away. And I've got no support system, no older generations, no mentors, no family teaching me, cheering me on, seeing the good I'm doing. We're just like hollowed out as young men. Women, I think it's a similar experience, although we are different. We experience these things in different ways. The women would definitely explain it in a different way. But certainly this is primarily for men. Like, women should know how to do all those skills. I think the more everyone knows how to do these skills, the better. Knowing how to make a fire, like all these just basic things without sophisticated technology. And you could say like, yeah, putting the steak in the freezer, that's sophisticated because you have the freezer. That's not the point. I'm saying the things we're doing being just like basic skills, basic out in the world. Like you got to do this to survive kind of thing. You used to have to feed your family. You used to have to, if you were anywhere outside of a city, and even in the city, you would have to kill what you wanted to eat to some extent. Or at least people knew how to do that. And it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy our young men don't know how to do it. We don't have the mentors. The internet doesn't cut it. We need to like have real people to do these things with. And it's very rare that anyone figures this out on their own, even with the internet. That's not common. That shouldn't be expected because we're not made to be mentored by the internet. We're made to be mentored by our parental figures, our parents, our uncles, aunts, the elders, the older people around us, the teachers, obviously, doctors. Doctor literally means teacher. All these older people in our lives, even older siblings, are a parental figure in some capacity. They're an authority figure. They're there to protect and provide. And what I'm talking about, especially right now in this video, is the providing. We haven't been provided with the great wealth of knowledge and skills, and most of all, mentorship. Someone to do life with. Or rather, they do life with us. Because those generations, those older figures, they should be mentoring us. We shouldn't be going to them for mentorship so much as they see the need to be a father and a mother and they fill that need. We shouldn't have to go to them. Something's really broken when the child or the younger generation has to seek out what the older generation should have given them. And that's a big part of theology of the body, the for from. Parents and children. Parents, they are for their children. Children are from their parents. They receive from their parents. But when that gets broken, when children have to be the parents, the adults of the household, when parents become more like children, when parents don't do their job, things go really wrong in the household. That's true with society too, and we're living through that. And it's horrible. Men, myself included, feel very weak, very helpless. And there's so many reasons to that, like the self-defense laws. We're not allowed to carry guns in Canada just to defend ourselves. And people not only are not allowed to do that, but when their own homes are attacked by violent, fully armed criminals, law-abiding Canadians are thrown in jail. They have criminal charges pressed against them for using their lawfully owned guns to defend their home, their family. And who are they prosecuted by? They're prosecuted by our state. So our government. So we, as young men, we know these things are going on increasingly. And if we don't know that they're going on, we have that emptiness still in us of like that eating, rotting away. And I think a lot of us can keep busy with school, some type of art, like music, the even liberal arts to some extent, like the philosophizing and all that, the creative arts, the making stuff, pottery, paintings, theater kids, like people who have sports teams, people who have some level of community. It really takes the load off. But we've still got that emptiness. We've still got something we're missing. And one of those things we're missing, aside from God and the God-shaped hole that we all have, that we try to fill with everything other than God, and those are idols. Anything we put in God's place, anything we think is going to bring us ultimate happiness, it's not. That's an idol. Only God's going to do that. But there are so many good things. And the reason we idolize them is because they are so good. God's just even greater. He's infinitely greater. He's so good that is who he is. But also, the things he created are very good. Again, he's infinitely more good than they are. He's goodness itself. And they come from him. But one of those things is knowing how to touch dirt, how to hunt, how to camp. Basic survival skills, tying knots, being competent, being able to fix things, but especially that getting in touch with Mother Earth, the creation that God created. You know, I say touching dirt because touching grass sounds a bit too faggoty. It sounds like hugging trees. Although, honestly, it's nice to hug a tree. It's like climb a tree, get in touch with the childhood we were robbed of, frankly, as Gen Z. The iPad kids came 2010 about. That's when the iPad was made. But that's also 2010 is the start of Generation Alpha, the iPad kids. I've been mistakenly saying they started a few years after me. It felt quick, but that's actually 8 years after I was born. So my generation, Gen Z, we were still robbed of that childhood, but we started around 1997. 9/11 happens 2001. The internet's getting really big in the 2000s. And then Gen Alpha is just totally cooked. They've been brought up as iPad kids. They're even more messed up than Gen Z is. And we're all missing that, man. Like, you can keep busy with sin or even with other good things, but we need to get in touch with dirt. Getting dirty, getting mud on you, even working and then like having like grease on your hands, having black smears on your face, the clothes get dusty from the dirt you're working in. Like, this kind of stuff is priceless. And maybe you work a job in construction, so you're like, yeah, I already do that every day, bud. No thanks. But the point is, that's not what I'm talking about. That's getting there. That's the dirty work, getting your hands dirty. It's dirty work, clean money. You gotta love it. I'm taking it a step further into going out into God's creation. The things we should have learned in childhood, our fathers and uncles should have taken us out on trips to learn how to hunt, to learn how to traverse the great Canadian wilderness, the great American wilderness, the North American beauty, and the ability to navigate that beauty, to know directions, read maps, not just northeast, west, but topographical, like elevations, knowing how to read the sun so you can figure out the time, like getting into these like outdoorsman, Boy Scout skills, if you will. That kind of stuff. It's great. And without it, and without practicing it throughout your life, you're missing something. So, yeah, let me know what your suggestions are for rectifying these things. Let me know things you like doing. Any skills I miss. I know there's so many things I could say. I got stuck on the Costco steak situation and hunting, but there's lots of stuff like that. Nothing's coming to mind. I'm not thinking too hard about it. It's just kind of putting that seed out there, putting this conversation out there because I want to see it more. Hope you like it, guys. God bless you. Mother Mary protect you. Father Joseph strengthen you, men. And may we all be beloved sons of our Lord. And Our Father in heaven, the Lord be with you. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Peace.